Fox's music wasn't the only synthetic portrait of the 70s metropolis. An experimental group of artists known as Throbbing Gristle had been forging their own electronic industrial sounds in their Death Factory down the road in Hackney.
Grim.
Yeah, it was grim. It was very run down. The factory was an old trouser factory, and it was near London Fields. And in the basement, we were on level with the plague pits. That's why it got called the Death Factory. There was still a lot of sort of antagonism left over from, I know it sounds like unbelievable, post-war, because there were still people there, like the park keeper, used to be one of Mosley's brown shirts.
I mean, it sounds a bit of a cliche now, but at the time we were trying to sort of reflect the sounds around us in some weird way. Our studio was in like an industrial area, and there were lots of different noises going on all the time. And we were sort of trying to reflect all these sounds and the way they all come together into like this weird mishmash of electronic experimental textures. We felt kinship with a lot of bands, didn't we? Especially sort of Sheffield bands. And...
Yeah, Cabaret Voltaire, those people. Yeah. But I think the kinship was the fact that we were all independent.
Chris Carter in Throbbing Gristle was a sort of nut for Tangerine Dream and that kind of music. So they were sort of some hypnotic, dreamy, electronic Throbbing Gristle tracks that were actually quite sort of pretty in a funny sort of shape and way.
And I had these synths. And because they were homemade synths, that they weren't bought sort of off the shelf, they weren't Rolands and Korgs, they sounded quite unique anyway. They didn't sound like regular synths. And then I built this effects unit. I saw this design in Practical Electronics, and you could combine all the effects together and put a guitar through it or a voice or anything. So I started building these units for Throbbing Gristle and called them Gristleizers. We were never punk, we're not punk, we were industrial. We're an industrial experimental music band.